darlings. Welcome to First Contact Radio. How you doing? Josh Poet with you here. Monday morning. Let's jump into our cosmic weather for today. We've had some interesting things going on over the weekend with our weather. Solar wind currently is at 513.6 kilometers per second. Our planetary K index at the moment is 3, expected to get up to a 4 within the next 24 hours. Over this past weekend, it was up to a 5. There was a burst of solar wind. It wasn't necessarily coming from a solar flare, but a burst of solar wind that came through and blasted through the system and took us up to that KP index 5. Now, for those of you who are out and about looking at the planets and the stars, well, you've got quite a lot to look at. Because, let me go over it here. Let me finish this first. Our chance for X-class flares is 1%, only a 10% chance of an M-class flare. And solar geomagnetic storms, very minor, 10% chance. Lower mid-latitudes, high latitudes, 15% chance. Now, if we take a look over here at what's going on, we've got Venus and Jupiter are lining up. We've got a link here, spaceweather.com. You just click on the little link there that wants to show you the full story. And it goes in to tell you all about what's going on with Venus and Jupiter, how they are in alignment. And what's kind of cool, you'll see the 25th is a night that they really suggest getting out there and looking. And what's going on is you got Venus and Jupiter are going to be 20 degrees apart. And over the course of the next several weeks, all the way through the 13th of March, they're going to be moving to where they are only 3 degrees apart. And once it gets into that 3-degree range, it gets in a range where the eyes and some of the real sensitivity and the brightness that comes from the vision within that 3% will be available to us looking at those planets and stars. So we're told to have a pretty spectacular view of things going on. So if you have an opportunity, check out the alignments this next several weeks. You'll be glad that you did. Probably have a camera and everything ready. And read the article here. It's just right from spaceweather.com. All right. Now, astrologically, we have switched. We are now in a new sun sign. Now, remember, the sun signs deal with our conscious mind. And the moon signs deal with our unconscious mind. What we're looking to understand here is the element involved with each one of these. So for the conscious mind, we're in the sign of Pisces right now. Pisces is a water sign. Pisces is the symbol of the two fishes swimming in opposite directions. Pisces is the last symbol of the zodiac, as the 12th of the 12 symbols. Pisces is ruled over by the planet Neptune, which has to do with water. Now, the whole idea of what is going on with Pisces, you got two fish, and they're swimming in opposite directions. That in itself should give you a clue to what's going on with the Pisces. When you take the element of water, and you understand that as emotions, and you have the emotions going in different directions, it could really pull the individual, the Piscean individual, in different ways, not knowing what to do. So Pisceans aren't necessarily the best and most decisive decision makers of the zodiac signs, because there's a lot of indecision going back and forth, a lot of emotions that can get involved with what's being decided. It's important with the Pisces to really try to stay grounded, and so our objective over the course of this next month, as we are dealing with the conscious sign of Pisces, is to not get caught up in illusionary worlds or in fantasy worlds. Keep ourselves grounded. That is the idea of the Pisces, to be grounded. Not to get out there and get lost in the world of fantasy or escapism, because it's very easy to do. Now, the moon phase at this present time has switched, and the moon is in Aquarius. So we've just come out of Aquarius, so we know Aquarius is an air sign. So the unconscious mind is dealing with intellectual issues, air being the mind, words, things we write, things of that nature. So the subconscious mind is dealing with issues that are air related. Got the conscious mind is water. And when you get air and water working together, they can work really well together. A nice gentle breeze from the wind can blow nice and create some nice, little waves or ripples across the water. But if the wind blows too hard, that water can become a big storm. And so it's important that these two, air and the water, balance out nicely, and one doesn't really try to overdo the other, because that doesn't work so good. And the moon phase, as you can see here, we're 2% full. Tomorrow we're back at a new moon. So we're going to start fresh with the moon phase tomorrow. And here on the dream spell, we are at the 7th position. So it's right down here. This is our 13-day wave spell. So the 7th position right down here. The kin for today is called the Night, N-I-G-H-T. It's right in the middle. Above it, the guide for today is the eagle, and then the 3 supporting kin around it are the Skywalker, the mirror, and the warrior. The phrase for today is, I channel in order to dream, inspiring intuition. I seal the input of abundance with the resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by the power of vision. And on the Gregorian calendar, it is Monday, February 20th, 2012. All right. So, Dirk Bradshaw's with us here today. His first story he has, or the story he has for us today, is about CIA and Facebook. We've talked about it many a time, so you shouldn't be surprised that those are connected. Dirk's going to explain a bit more to you. Dirk, over to you.
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw. Does the CIA use Facebook as its primary intelligence source? People share virtually every bit of information about themselves with Facebook, from sexual orientation, age, race, religious, and political affiliations, even daily updates about their personal whereabouts. People are sharing literally everything. The CIA is on Facebook. That's what we have for you, boys and girls. You'll want to stay tuned. You definitely need to know this.
And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives?
Deputy CIA Director Christopher Saranesky said about Facebook, after years of secretly monitoring the public, we are astounded so many people would willingly publicize where they live, their religious and political views, an alphabetized list of all their friends, personal email addresses, phone numbers, hundreds of photos of themselves, and even status updates about what they are doing moment to moment. It is truly a dream come true for the CIA. When this information is posted alongside with your picture, the government can, and does, create a composite profile of you and literally every American who is even remotely connected to a social media site, particularly Facebook, but also Twitter, Google+, MySpace, YouTube, and the list goes on and on. The collected data is then assessed, studied, and analyzed by every type of expert known to man. This analysis is sought by the highest levels at the White House and ends up in the president's intelligence briefing almost on a daily basis. Monitoring these sites saves intelligence and police agencies millions in information gathering operations, as well as countless man hours. It's a lot easier and cheaper to obtain information that is shared with you voluntarily than when it has to be gathered through wiretaps, interrogations, and informants. We do know, by their own admission, that the CIA is monitoring Facebook and watching other social networks from a nondescript facility in a Virginia industrial park 24 hours a day. News of the CIA operation comes just before the United States Department of Homeland Security said it was working on guidelines for protecting the privacy rights of U.S. citizens while it monitors social media sites. Yet, The CIA is suspected of even using Facebook applications like Suggested Friends, which allowed the agency in more than one occasion to go deeper undercover into people's networks, to which they gained trust and access when agents befriended them on Facebook. Maybe mainstream America will wake up to what's going on when martial law is declared and various so-called troublemakers, aka you, are rounded up and shipped off to concentration camps for Americans. So the question goes, am I, Dirk Bradshaw, on Facebook? Why, certainly. I love using their own systems against them. Well, I see the fat lady is getting off the stage. She's looking right at me. I've got to take her home and put her to bed. I hate goodbyes, so instead I'm going to say, until we meet again. I'm Dirk Bradshaw from the Cosmic News Network. I return you now to Joshua Poet and First Contact. They're all yours, Josh. This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very, very much. So that's a good reminder. You know what? We are on Facebook. Every day our shows are on Facebook. Since Dirk has been kind enough to remind us that the CIA is there, let us not forget our manners. Hello to any CIA individuals who are monitoring this site. We hope that you enjoy the information. We are presenting information here that will help you to catch the bad guys. And the bad guys, unfortunately, are part of this government. So if you would be so kind as to go out there, CIA agents who are monitoring all of this, and capture the bad guys in the government, we will be very, very happy Americans. Thank you very much. Now, on with our news for today, UFO news. First story comes to us from the Examiner.com and Tracy Pierce. UFO spotted in live feed of Sakurajima Volcano eruption. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but this volcano erupted over the weekend. It says on Sunday, February 19, 2012, a UFO was seen in the live webcam that overlooks the active volcano Sakurajima in Japan. The black unidentified flying object was immortalized on video by a YouTube user known as American Bunker. Sakurajima is one of Japan's most active volcanoes. The video shows 4 previously recorded live webcams, each aimed at Sakurajima in Japan. The majority of the unexplained activity appears in the upper right quadrant of the screen. A dark flying saucer-shaped UFO seems to lift off the surface of the volcano immediately after it erupted. Reports of the UFO sightings are common at the sites of natural disasters. For example, UFOs were reported in Japan preceding, during, and following the recent earthquake and subsequent tsunami there. The recent footage of a UFO at that site of Sakurajima in Japan is interesting because UFO activity at that site has already been reported multiple times. On April 3, 2011, UFOs were at the scene of a volcanic eruption at the site. The UFOs were allegedly huddled around the base of the volcano at the time of the eruption. On September 8, 2011, a single white UFO visible on Sakurajima's live webcam feed at approximately 9:02 p.m. on Thursday appeared to descend from the sky at an angle and settled directly into the plume of smoke being released by the volcano. It disappeared from sight and it was engulfed by the thick gray smoke. All right, let's take a look at this video here, see what we have. This is from the live feed. All right. Now, he's saying up in the upper right-hand corners, we're going to see the anomalies. So, let's check it out. And this was quite an eruption. Okay, you're going to get a chance here now to see. You may need to look at this a little bit close up, where you can really blow the screen up. And by blow up the screen, I mean make it larger, just so there is no confusion on what those actual words mean in this case. There we go. There is a image there of the object above the volcano. All right, next story comes to us from latest-UFO sightings.net. UFO activity over Bogota, Colombia, February 2012, excuse me. Early February 2012, a UFO, or a pair of them, was caught on video over the nighttime skies of Bogota, Colombia. What is it? The unidentified flying object is notable because of the quality of the camera being used to capture the image. What seems to be a distant pair of lights is zoomed in on, revealing the classic shape of the circular UFO with pulsating lights brightly illuminating the sky. The videographer makes no comment as the tape is rolling, choosing to let the camera tell the story. It's impossible to pin down the area of Colombia, but it's obvious the object is flying over a town or village with some traffic noise in the background. Alright, let's take a look at this. This is the enhanced still frame so you can get a better look at it, and this is the actual video footage. Now we've seen these many a time just hanging in the sky. And then of course as they get closer they take on a little bit different type of an image. And we realize there's something a little bit more to them than just a single light. You can see that they're actually some sort of craft. Alright, very good. Now, moving right along, our next story comes to us from Scott Waring Blogspot. Alright, you've seen the face on Mars before. Well, this is another face. Right here. This is the face of... So I was looking at the Mars photos, as you know, I love to do, and I came across a photo which had this same face smack dab in the middle of it. I noticed that it had a lot of similarities to the ancient Babylonians. Its prominent nose and eyes, its lips with no expression, its long beard and long flowing hair, the traditional hat or helmet. The Babylonian were the demigods who were the direct descendants of the Sumerians and the Anunnaki race. The ancient astronauts who are believed to have come from the planet Nibiru, as known as Planet X, the 12th planet, and seeded mankind. Babylon is one of the most important cities of the ancient world, whose location today is marked with broad area of ruins just east of the Euphrates River, 90 kilometers south of Baghdad. Babylon was the capital city of Babylonia in the 2nd and the 1st millennia BC. Alright, so let's take a good look at this here. This is the object from a distance. Now, this is the Babylonian image. I'm sure you've all are familiar with that. And keep that in mind. And now let's go here, look at a little bit more close up. And you can see all of the same type of imagery. Okay, so is it possible that this is actually a face that was put there and designed like this, or is this just a coincidence? That is the question. But as you can see, there's a lot of definite similarities. Alright, moving right along. Our next story takes us to Las Vegas and the Bellagio Hotel, February 18th. The video was taken after onlookers noticed a strange aircraft hovering above the Bellagio in Las Vegas. Witnesses described the craft as having an odd movement, and they couldn't tell where it was or how large it was. The person who filmed this sighting was lucky enough to catch a glimpse of the UFO before it took off and disappeared. Why was this craft in Las Vegas? Experts have said that typically UFOs are generally unseen due to sophisticated cloaking mechanisms, so perhaps the ship realized its cloak was down and swiftly left the area, hence its quick exit. Hey, maybe they were going to gamble. Vegas is a place where it attracts all kind of visitors, so there we go. There's the ship up above. Alright. Just kind of hanging there in the sky, checking out which casino do they want to go to visit. And all of a sudden they realize, uh-oh, we don't want to be here anymore, and off they go. Alright. And the last story here comes to us from Oregon. Another metal box on the beach found and taken home for artists to use in Mayan theme art show. Alright. Updated, the metal box is being found along the beach of the west coast. One person was seen trying to load the box in the back of his white truck, and he stated that he was a local artist and wanted to use the metal box as an art project for the show in March 17th. He said since it's 2012, this metal box was mysterious and useful in his Mayan art theme. Alright. Says forthcoming art show in this eclectic coastal town includes an artist's plan to display a metal box he unearthed as part of the Mayan prophecies art presentation. Local artist Leo D'Alessandro is planning for the 42nd annual original Yakat Art and Crafts Fair in a big way. Since the Mayan prophecy for this year 2012 is expected to bring the dawn of a new era, a new year of transformation for our planet, what better way for me to share my visions of the Mayans than with the metal box I salvaged from our beach? In turn, D'Alessandro is a young, aggressive, and even pushy artist who seems to be neutral in nothing, as he shares what he's been dubbed as beach sculpture artworks, is excited about the upcoming festival. My art is original woodwork and mixed media. I know the mention of having one of these mysterious boxes involved is exciting. It's just right. I feel so to complement my Mayan theme for the work I presented this year, since D'Alessandro relies on handmade flyers that he passed out at the Yakuts Commons February 17th during a Hulic interview. There's no big buzz as of yet for what this artist who says his art is based on personified chaotic disorder. And there's more to the story here. And there's a little video down here. It's a longer video all about the boxes and what's going on. Alright, but that's a long video, and it's part of a radio show there called Ground Zero. So here you go. That's our last story for today of the UFO news variety. Let me jump away to our song, Wake Up, and I'll be back with more news and information. Stay tuned. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw U.F.O. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
Alrighty, I'm back. Alright, first up, today's President's Day. But President's Day was originally Washington's birthday. That's the whole idea of it. You got a story here. This is out of Wikipedia, which really explains things to you. Washington's birthday is a United States federal holiday celebrated on the third Monday of February in honor of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Also commonly known as President's Day, sometimes spelled President's Day or different spellings. As Washington's birthday or President's Day, it is also an official name of a concurrent state holiday celebrated on the same day in a number of states. Now, it goes on to tell us that titled Washington's Birthday, a federal holiday honoring George Washington, was originally implemented by an act of Congress in 1879 for government offices in the District of Columbia and expanded in 1885 to include all federal offices. As the first federal holiday to honor an American citizen, the holiday was celebrated on Washington's actual birthday, February 22nd. On January 1st, 1971, the federal holiday was shifted to the third Monday in February by the Uniform Monday Holiday Act. The date places it between the 15th and the 21st, which makes the name Washington's birthday in some sense a misnomer, since it always falls between Washington's old-style birthday, February 11th, and new-style, February 22nd. The first attempt to create a President's Day occurred in 1951 when the President's Day National Committee was formed by Harold Stonebridge Fisher of Compton, California, who became its national executive director for the next 2 decades. The purpose was not to honor any particular president, but to honor the office of the presidency. It was thought that the March 4th, the original inauguration date, should be deemed President's Day. However, the bill recognizing the March 4th date was stalled in the Senate Judiciary Committee. That committee felt that because of its proximity to Lincoln's and Washington's birthdays, 3 holidays so close together would be unduly burdensome. During this time, however, the governors of a majority of the individual states issued proclamations declaring March 4th to be President's Day in their respective junctions. An early draft of the Uniform Monday Holiday Act would have renamed the holiday to President's Day to honor the birthdays of both Washington and Lincoln, which would explain why the chosen date falls between the two. But this purpose failed in committee, and the bill, as voted on and signed into law 28 June 1968, kept the name Washington's Birthday. Okay, it goes on and has more history to that. I have another story here, kind of gets a little more explanation. President's Day is intended for some to honor all American presidents, but most significantly Washington and Abraham Lincoln. According to the Gregorian or New Style calendar that is most commonly used today, George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732, but according to the Julian or Old Style calendar that was used in England until 1752, his birth date was February 11th. Back in the 1790s, Americas were split. Some celebrated his birthday on the 11th and some on the 22nd. When Abraham Lincoln became the president and helped reshape our country, it was believed he too should have a special day of recognition. Tricky thing was that Lincoln's birthday fell on February 12th. Prior to 1968, having 2 presidential birthdays so close together didn't seem to bother anyone. February 22nd was observed as a federal public holiday to honor the birthday of George Washington, and February 12th was observed as a public holiday to honor Abraham Lincoln. In 1968, things changed when the 90th Congress was determined to create a uniform system of federal Monday holidays. They voted to shift 3 existing holidays, including Washington's birthday, to Mondays. The law took effect in 1971, and as a result, Washington's birthday holiday was changed to the third Monday in February. But not all Americans were happy with the new law. There was some concern that Washington's identity would be lost, since the third Monday in February would never fall on his actual birthday. There was also an attempt to rename the public holiday President's Day, but the idea didn't go anywhere since some believed not all presidents deserved special recognition. Which brings me to my next point. Today, for me, is Washington's Day or Lincoln's birthday. Not in any way, shape, or form does the current man in office name get to be mentioned in my world with those other 2 presidents, because the president in office today is a fraud. Therefore, this is not a day to honor him. This is a day to honor George Washington, founder of this country, one of the founders, one of the founding fathers that brought freedom to this country. We need to remember what he was about, and not the man in office now who is trying to dismantle what George Washington had put in place. So let's honor George Washington. Let's honor Abe Lincoln. Let's honor some of the other presidents who stood up against the tyranny, like Andrew Jackson, whose last words and good feeling was that he defeated the banks. Let's think about all of those founding fathers that did great things, like Thomas Jefferson. And let us know that in these last several presidencies, we have men in office who are trying to dismantle what the founding fathers put in place. So President's Day should mean something to a lot of Americans. It should mean that the presidents of this day and age that we're living in have nothing in common with the presidents who started this country. They do not have the same integrity. They do not have the same willpower or the same courage. We need to pay attention, and we need to go back to school, and we need to understand the ways of the founding fathers and get on board with them. Now, someone who definitely believes in the founding fathers is Ron Paul, and he's been talking about that consistently for a long, long time. And now, as he's running for a candidate for the presidency, he's getting a lot of flack because it's really been found out that there's a lot of those in the media who really are enemies to the Constitution. There are those in office who are enemies to the Constitution. And every time Ron Paul points this out, well, all of those who are the enemies, they're stepping up and they're speaking loud and clear because they're enemies. Anyway, let's listen to what Dr. Paul has to say. This is his weekly update for today. Here we go. All right, and here we...
This is Ron Paul with your weekly update for February 20th. The administration recently released its 2013 budget proposal, and conservatives are correctly alarmed that it calls for unprecedented spending and continued annual deficits exceeding $1 trillion. But the same conservatives complain that the budget does not devote enough funds to overseas adventurism. I continue to be dismayed that in spite of our economic problems, most of those who call themselves fiscal conservatives refuse to consider any reductions in military spending. Doug Bandow of the Cato Institute very aptly addresses this in his recent article for the American Conservative entitled Attack of the Pork Hawks. He points out that conservatives are using a tired liberal argument to defend the bloated military budget. Namely, that more spending equals better results. The federal education morass is merely one example that clearly disproves this. The facts are that the president's budget calls for an 18% increase versus the previously planned 20% increase. This is not a cut. Yet Pentagon hawks continue to issue dire warnings that this draconian decrease in proposed future spending will seriously threaten our national security. In truth, the majority of DoD spending goes to projects in other nations, including prosperous allies like Europe and Japan and South Korea, nations that could and should take more responsibility for their own defense. Is there any amount of money that would satisfy the hawks and the neoconservatives? Even adjusted for inflation, military spending is 17% higher now than when Obama took office. Even the worst-case scenarios of Obama's cuts, adjusted for inflation, will put outlays in 2007 levels, which are 40% higher than a decade ago. Our total spending on overseas adventurism and nation-building equals more than the next 13 highest-spending countries in the world combined. Even if we were to slash our military budget in half, we would still be the world's dominant military power by far. In reality, the military-industrial complex that President Eisenhower warned us about has become every bit the voracious monolith he feared. It wastes as much as any other arm of government, if not more, because it knows it can depend on unlimited blank checks from a terrified Congress. Mr. Bandow concludes that America is more secure today than at any point since World War II, and that military outlay should be reduced accordingly. We should, Mr. Bandow argues, stop garrisoning the globe, subsidizing rich friends, and reconstruction poor enemies. Instead, it's about time Washington focused on defending America and its people. I couldn't agree more. Wasting money on overseas adventurism and nation-building threatens our national security by massively contributing to our debt. Both welfare and warfare spending are tipping our economy into a serious currency and debt crisis. We can afford no sacred cows in our budget. Only now we have to look at the violence and the civil unrest in Greece and ask, is that the sort of security we envision for our nation's future? Thanks for calling this update. A new update is placed on this number, 888-322-1414, every Monday. The written text can be found on my website, www.house.gov/Paul, under the heading Texas Straight Talk. Thanks for calling.
All right, very good. So that's Dr. Paul's weekly address. Now I'm going to continue on because I got another story with Dr. Paul. This is RT, and Ron Paul made a comment last week about the U.S. is heading into fascism, and got a little bit of attention, and well, he's absolutely right about what he has to say, though, because Americans have fallen asleep, and while they've fallen asleep at the wheel, bad things have happened. Let's check out what this story is all about.
US presidential contender Ron Paul has warned that his country is slipping into a fascist system with a broke government ruled by big business. Speaking to supporters in Kansas City, the Republican candidate said Americans' individual liberties were being stripped away. Let's now talk to radio host and author Stephen Lemon, who's just come off air, just done a radio program. Good to have you here on RT, Stephen. Now, do you agree with Ron Paul then?
Oh, I absolutely agree with him, Bill. America is a fascist state. The only thing I disagree with Ron Paul about is it's not slipping into it, it's deep into it. Imagine, Bill, in the 1930s, 1935, I believe, Sinclair Lewis wrote a novel called It Can't Happen Here. It was about a politician riding to power on populist rhetoric, and when he got it, he became a fascist despot. George Selders, the marvelous U.S. journalist that lived, I believe, to over age 100, died in the mid-1990s. He worried about U.S. fascism in the 1930s under Franklin Roosevelt. A man named Bertram Gross in the 1980s wrote a book called Friendly Fascism. He said when it arrives, it'll be with a friendly face. And he used Ronald Reagan as a fascist prototype, smiling while brutalizing and destroying U.S. freedoms. Today, Bill, we have deeply repressive police state laws. The most recent was slipped into the National Defense Authorization Act on the last day of 2011 that gives the U.S. government the right to let the military arrest and throw in military dungeons U.S. citizens anywhere in the world, charge them, leave them uncharged, give them a military tribunal trial, give them no trial, let them rot in prisons forever. If that isn't a fascist dictatorship, what is?
All right, Stephen, he was also targeting big business. In many ways, is he trying to jump on the Occupy Wall Street movement here?
Well, he is very upset, especially about the Federal Reserve. I am not a Ron Paul supporter, but I absolutely support his opposition to imperial wars. He has gone after the Federal Reserve for years. It's a repressive group. It's privately owned and operated. It isn't federal, and it doesn't have reserves, as Ron Paul explains. It's owned by the major bankers, mainly the Wall Street ones, and they use money power to create more of it at the public's expense. As long as the system goes on this way, that and democracy cannot coexist. It doesn't, and these fascist bankers are allied with the fascist militarists. They're brutalizing people abroad. They're brutalizing people at home. That's the reality Americans have to wake up to. They need to understand it. They need to know their liberties are fast disappearing, and only they can change things. They're very dismissive. Occupy Wall Street has woken up, but we need mass American awakening to take on this beast that's destroying
Okay,
them.
Stephen, in what way, then, should you see this mass awakening? Ron Paul is talking about the predictions of future unrest. Is he actually encouraging unrest in order for people's views to be heard?
Well, I think sooner or later it comes. Look what happened in Tsarist Russia in 1917. Repression got severe enough. People rose up. They overthrew the dictatorship. Look what's going on in Greece right now. Furious people, their lives are being destroyed in real time. I think it's only a matter of time before they don't just rally and storm in front of the parliament, but they break into it and they haul these criminal politicians out by the scruff of their necks, and they either put them on trial or they hang them. They deserve to be hanged. They're criminals. They're not serving their people. They've sold them into deep poverty. The same thing is happening across Europe. It's happening in America more slowly. Sooner or later, what Gerald Celente says is true. When people lose everything and have nothing else to lose, they lose it. They lose it. That means violence. That means rising up against a repressive power and overthrowing it. And the marvelous anthropologist Margaret Mead once said, it doesn't take a lot of people to do this. She said, never underestimate the power of a few committed people to change the world. And her punchline was, it's the only way it ever happens. Indeed so. It's up to us.
Stephen, your words there will stir up a lot of reaction, many against and many for your views. Thank you very much indeed, Stephen. Stephen Lemon joining us live there, radio host and author.
All right, very good. So, yeah, something's going to go on, folks. Something's going to go on if you're paying attention, which I know that a lot of you are. And, you know, I know I'm down on you know, people stepping up and feel like there's not enough. But, you know, there's more than I always admit, you know. I meet folks all the time whose eyes are opened, and it seems to balance out those whose eyes are closed. It just seems like, you know, you got to look for the ones whose eyes are open because they're gathered in different places. All right, now, today, in case you didn't know, is a march which is taking place out in Washington, D.C. Veterans for Ron Paul plan President's Day March on White House. The Veterans for Ron Paul are planning a march on the White House on Monday with the theme, Ron Paul is the choice of the troops. According to a report published in the Washington Times, the march will take place on Monday, February 20th, President's Day. Participants will gather at the base of the Washington Monument at noon, then proceed on to the White House at 2 p.m. In an interview with co-founder of the Veterans for Ron Paul, published in the Washington Times, Adam Kokesh explains the impetus behind the formation of his organization. We want a commander-in-chief who will be decisive, put America's security first, and only send troops into harm's way with a clear mission. Ron Paul is the only candidate with a pragmatic and principled foreign policy, says Kokesh. Kokesh is also a member of another veterans advocacy group known as the Iraq Veterans Against the War. He, along with Nathan Cox, founder of the Veterans for Ron Paul, in order to give a voice to the scores of veterans who backed the Texas congressman's campaign for the presidency. According to the group's Facebook page, Veterans for Ron Paul makes its pitch for members. If supporting the troops is important to you, Ron Paul is your candidate. For veterans in active duty who support Ron Paul and want to see him elected president in 2012, this page is also for anyone who supports veterans speaking out for freedom. Plans for the President's Day rally were announced during a New Hampshire event where Kokesh and Tom Woods spoke to a throng of Paul supporters. Now, there's much more to the article here. I'm going to leave that up to you to read. And this next site here I want you to check out. It's Adam versus the Man. You may know Adam Kokesh. This is the gentleman I just told you about. He's on RT. You may know the show there. And he is one of the organizers of this event. So as you go here, you'll be able to see live streams of what's going on over the course of today, and be able to keep in touch with what Adam is up to. So it's very important. Mark this website down. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. All right. Next up, Anonymous. Anonymous. This is a message from Anonymous. And I'm going to play this because I think this is a good message that needs to get out there. So I'm going to play it and do my part to make sure you hear it. Here we go.
Citizens of the United States, this is a message from Anonymous. This is a message to the 99%. This is a message to what is becoming the American autumn. This is a message to the whispers of revolution beginning to stir in every major American city, and in the heart of every afflicted member of the youth. It is becoming obvious that due to certain technical difficulties the revolution will not be televised. It will not be broadcasted. This is quite alright, media, you serpents of the elite, for we will go under you. We will go around you. We will go over you. And we will go beyond you. You no longer control the floodgates. The era of the internet has arrived, and it will consume you. This movement will be downloaded. It will be streamed. It will be circulated. And it will spread like a wildfire. Without direction. Unpredictable. Vast and devastating. Look around you, America. The leaves are beginning to sour, cracks are appearing in them. They are falling from the branches, dead and rotting. So are our politicians. So are our banks. So is our media, and so is our society. This country has never seen a movement from our generation. They have never seen a movement from the children of the internet. They haven't the slightest clue what we are capable of, we masters of information, we conductors of thought. The tipping point has arrived. We have reached critical mass. This is the point of no return. Carry this movement through the winter. Carry this movement through the bitter cold and into spring. Shake off your morning dew, youth, for ye are many, they are few. Washington. We have no bombs. We have no weapons. We have no threats, but behold the power of the quill and ink. Members of the military. You took an oath to defend this country from enemies both foreign and domestic. Walk with us, among us, as one of us. Unions. You have a score to settle. Walk with us, among us as one of us. Artists. Move the movement. Stoke the flames. We are all the 99%. We are all anonymous. We are all legion. We will never forget. We will not forgive. Expect us.
All right, very good message from Anonymous. Now, I believe in this country. I believe in freedom. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Founding Fathers. I believe in truth, and I believe in integrity. I don't believe in lies. I don't believe in corruption. I don't believe in the politicians that are out there in office today. I don't believe in a violence for the sake of violence, but I do believe in people standing up for what is right. And I do know every time I see these police out there arresting individuals who are standing up for their rights, I know that the people outnumber the police over and over again. So all it's going to take is the people stepping up and pushing back a little bit more. And when they do, the administration, the police, they're going to find out that they are overwhelmed and outmanned. And once they realize that, and they realize that the American people are speaking up, perhaps they will listen. Because the American people simply want you to listen and do what is right. That is it. Stand by the Constitution, stand by the words of the Founding Fathers, and quit killing our country. That is what us patriots are all about. Now, the internet, even though it's a source where we can use it to pass information, it also is a double-edged sword, because the internet itself is behind censorship. When we saw footage of the Bilderberg meetings last year, who did we see there? We saw Eric Schmidt from Google there. We know that Google is working with YouTube. We know Google's outreach on the internet. We see other internet-related organizations that are part of the Bilderberg organization. So we know that they are censoring. We know that they are watching. Well, Google is only one search engine out there on the internet. And when people wise up, people will turn away from Google, and it will hit Google's pocketbook, and they will lose millions and millions of dollars because people will stop using it. When people realize about YouTube, and if people stop using it, YouTube will lose millions of dollars. That's the way to hit these companies, because they all rely upon money to keep themselves going. But if they don't have the money, because people turn away because they realize they are corrupt, maybe they'll change their practices. Maybe Google will be a little less threatening to individuals' privacy if people stop using them. Now, this reason I bring this up is because this is a video and it talks about the censorship going on YouTube. Very real censorship. I pointed it out. Censorship that happens to this show and to every other alternative show that's out there. I'm sure that you've probably experienced it yourself personally if you've put some sort of video up there and you wondered at the hits you get. I pointed out how a lot of times videos seem to max out at around 300, 302, 303 viewings, but then you'll see that there'll be 3-4 times as many likes, which means that many more people went to the page but didn't watch it. No, it means that the counts are off. It means somebody over there is messing with the numbers, and that's the problem. Listen to this video. It's good information.
February 19th, 2012. Notice. YouTube has not been emailing all your subs when you upload a video. The ratio is around 1 in 15 from what I have been able to figure out. I have been uploading many videos and a few subscribers have compared my uploads to those they have been notified of via email, and YouTube is censoring us big time. My suggestion is, mirroring important videos you get whether you think others have seen them or not, to make sure it is getting out there. Think of it this way. If you have 1,000 subscribers and upload a video, only 150 are notified of that upload. If everyone mirrors your videos and links back to you, not only are we making sure it gets out, you then have a link back to your channel as well. Any suggestions to help remedy this problem, please let me know. Because we know for damn sure, Screw 2 will call it a bug and brush us off. Now Lena, Ohio 6.
Alright, so there you go. I'm not the only one who's finding this. It's being found out by many others. Alright, this is one last reminder here. Just one last story. This comes to us from IB International Business Times, and this is about the march today. Ron Paul's 2012 campaign will see 1,000 veterans marching on the White House in support of Republican presidential candidate on February 20th, called an event called Ron Paul is the Choice of the Troops. The event, which aimed at demonstrating the depth of the Texas congressman's support among the veteran community, will begin at 12 p.m. with the rally at the Washington Monument, followed by a march beginning at 2 p.m. from the monument to the White House. It will also feature stateside active duty military members who can make it to Washington, D.C. for the event. The event was the brainchild of Adam Kokesh, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, political commentator, and one-time Republican congressional candidate, and Nathan Cox, a U.S. Army veteran, political activist, and supporter of Veterans for Ron Paul, and it has gained significant support since it's first conceived in early January. So check that out today, folks. That's going to be very interesting to see how it worked out. Of course, you remember last week I read there was a letter that was sent to Adam from some high-ranking military officials saying that this event should not go on and that these soldiers are not supposed to march in their uniforms, blah, 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 blah. Well, all you have to do is go to the Facebook page that they have set up, scroll down the page, and read the comments from the troops. They say that they're coming. They're saying that they swore an oath to protect and defend this country, and that's more important than a directorate on not going or wearing a particular uniform. So there are many in the military who are out fighting these wars that see that there is really something dangerous going on, and they see it's important to step up. They are willing to do so. So let's support them in all of their efforts, because there are good guys out there. We just have to make sure we keep putting the news about all the good guys out to override all the news of the bad guys. All right, there you have it. That brings us up to there. I guess all that's left is to our meditation for today. So let me go ahead and where are we at here? All right. Let's go ahead and bring up our meditation. All right. Friends, go ahead and close your eyes and relax. Close your eyes and relax. Let's imagine that we are all standing, looking up at the sky. And as we stand looking up at the sky, we realize that our connections to this world are much greater then we actually realize that our connection to life exists beyond this planet. And it goes on and on. We realize that the universe moves in mysterious ways, and that our purpose for being here on this planet is to assist in that process, to understand part of the mysterious nature of the universe, enough to be able to participate in the process. Imagine as you stand there, look at the sky, that all of your chakras are activated. Starting with the chakra at the bottom of your spine, color is red. Raise the energy up to the second chakra above it at the belly button, imagine the color orange. From there, raise the energy up higher to the chakra above it, just below the rib cage, imagine the color yellow. From the yellow chakra, raise the energy up to the heart, imagine the color green. From the green heart chakra up to the throat, imagine the color blue. Between the two eyebrows to the third eye, imagine the color violet. And finally to the top of your head, the crown chakra, imagine the color indigo. And the light continues on into the cosmos as bright white light. Now, not only do you see the vastness of this universe, but energetically you should now be able to really feel your connection. Feel how you are energetically connected to all that is, to all that was, to all that ever shall be. Now we are all caretakers of this planet, caretakers of each other, and it is important for us to walk in integrity, that we might right the wrongs and clear out the darkness that is in our way. Let's imagine sending love all around the planet to each and every individual. Let's think good thoughts for everybody and wish everybody a great day. And bring our energy and attention back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. There you have it. Another show has come to a completion. So it's just about that time, my friends. It's 9 o'clock here in Los Angeles, 12 o'clock in Washington. They're just gathering together now at the Washington Monument. So probably turn on RT, go on the internet, find some place where you can find the live stream of the march. You'll be able to find the information out there. Don't expect to find it on Fox or CNN or MSNBC because, well, they don't want you to know that these things are going on. But if you pay attention, you'll be able to learn lots of things about this. So share the information with your friends. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, be safe. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.